Hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I week to week run down new releases that are appearing in the store. This is the new release week for October 27th, 2023. And there's a lot of new releases. I think I mentioned this was kind of a big week, so I'm going to get to that here in a second. Couple of notes here. I do not have Taylor Swift in this video. The 1989 reissue, Taylor's version, comes out tomorrow. Our shipment is supposed to be here by opening time, so we should have it. They're very secretive with a lot of these Taylor releases, and if you're like a big enough artist, they will hold out until the very last minute. And so anyway, I was actually kind of expecting it today, but then things got postponed. This is the day before. All right. And what was the other thing? Oh, there was just an announcement that there are a couple of Beatles greatest hits albums coming out, the red and blue vinyl. And they're just remastered versions, I believe. And then there's a new 7-inch single for the new song. And I don't know specifically yet what we're going to have. I'll be trying to figure that out over the next couple of days. So you can either wait and watch for the next video or check our Facebook updates, and I'll let you know there what I know when I know it. First thing before new releases, I feel like I need to say a few words about this record. Rolling Stones, Hackney Diamonds. Last week, I would say, well, first of all, let me say this was probably our biggest selling record of the year, I think. I can't think of something that sold that much out of the gate the first week. And the other thing I think I will say about it is most people seemed very pleasantly surprised with how good it was. There were a few naysayers out there. I think the naysayers, I kind of almost wonder, like, what is it that you're actually expecting out of them at this point? Not only did they deliver a fairly competent album for 80 plus in rock and roll, but I mean, and they showed a lot of energy on it too, but also I think it kind of gives you this sort of a take on the original Stones sound that everybody loved, that I wouldn't say it was lost on their past albums, recent albums, but it's just much more apparent on this record. And, you know, it's very catchy. Song after song after song, very catchy, very energetic, like I said. It's interesting how bands will kind of get tortured for going further and further away from their sound, to where people are not energized by their sound anymore, and then you try to do something that's like so referential to your original sound, and then that's not good enough for the other people. So I think it sort of goes either way. But anyway, so Hackney Diamonds, give it a listen if you haven't. I think Whole Wide World might be kind of my favorite track on here. I'm not even really a huge Stones fan, but I think it's a very great, competent sounding Stones record, which is more than I can say sometimes, but I don't know. It took a long time to make it, and I think it was worth it. All right, as far as like size-wise, the big new release this week. Prince, the Diamonds and Pearls box set. This is a 12 record set in the $350, $360 range. Yeah, one of his best sort of poppier kind of albums. This was Prince and the New Power Generation, so it was not the Revolution. He had sort of already gone through that band, and then the Sign of the Times band, and then this was the following band. I love the way this shines and glistens and catches the light, right? It's great. 12 records. You get the basic album. You get all the singles and B-sides. You get a about 30, 35 unreleased tracks, I think, at least 30. And then 2 concerts, one on vinyl and one on, and then I think 2 on Blu-ray, actually. Well, a concert and then appearance at Special Olympics and the video collection. So all the songs from the video album. Hence the hefty price and the hefty weight. Let me put this down. Gotta be careful with that one. Yeah, so if you're not that inclined to get the whole set, they just did the album as a double, and it's really nice. It sort of replicates the original sleeve, but does it in more of this foil kind of shiny cover. Originally it was more just like blue and white, I think, in the US anyway, or I don't know if it was a US vinyl or if it was an import vinyl, but anyway, this features Cream was a #1 hit. Diamonds and Pearls, the song, was top 3, I believe. Get Off was a big sort of club hit. Money Don't Matter Tonight was one of his most beautiful socially conscious songs. I love Willing and Able. That's kind of like a slightly reggae type track. Strollin' is kind of fun. Daddy Pop is sort of like Sly and the Family Stone. And I love Thunder. Thunder is the opening track, which is kind of almost like, it's actually, the funny thing about that is that it's a solo Prince song. It does not feature the New Power Generation. It's all him, pretty much, and it's pretty amazing. The vocal track and the kind of big thundery drums and all. Don't know why it wasn't a single in the US, because I think it would have done pretty well. But maybe by that time the album was already kind of running its course and he was on to something else, I suppose. But Diamonds and Pearls, great album. 1990, I believe, or 91 is sort of that turning point for Prince when he kind of started having a lot more problems with Warner Brothers. And all right, other big release this week. So I don't have the massive box set of this one to show because it's also about $400 and it featured a lot of sort of tchotchkes and stuff. But this is really cool. This is the new reissue of Nirvana's In Utero. It's remastered. Newly remastered, 30th anniversary limited edition. This is on, I don't know if it's on color vinyl. It doesn't say, but it does have a bonus 10-inch with 5 extra tracks on it. So if you did not get the regular edition of this album, it's the B-sides and bonus tracks. So it's got a little bit of a foil sort of treatment on the name there. I don't know if you can see that, but another great 90s album. And what would be their last? Okay, well, new release this week, big new release, Black Pumas. This is their sophomore album. The first one, it's been like 4 years already, I think, and it hit great album. Had won them a fair amount of like accolades and Grammys and such. Well, I don't know if they actually won. Let's see. Oh, it says they were 7-time Grammy nominees. So maybe they didn't win, but it was a great album. This is an indie retail exclusive, limited edition cloudy red vinyl. The album's Chronicles of a Diamond. So you get Diamonds and Pearls from Prince and Chronicles of a Diamond from Black Pumas. So don't come in and ask for that diamond record because I won't know which one to give you. But anyway, heard the first single from this and it's great. It's if you like old kind of soul music and stuff that has kind of a bluesier edge, you know, it's great. Another reissue, kind of skipping around here, Led Zeppelin 4. I think a lot of people know this album. This is just sort of a repressing of this on crystal clear vinyl. It's basically part of that Atlantic Records 75th birthday series. The little swan song insignias down there and a cool hologram sticker. But yeah, on clear vinyl. So you know, collectible. I could see some people probably saying, I'll play it once just to make sure it works, and then I'm putting it on the shelf. All right. I'm just always struggling with this woman's name, girl. And I think it's LaFay or LaFay. It looks like Laufey. I know people say that all the time. Bewitched. This is her new record. This artist is blowing up. I've had so many requests from this, and I think she's a fairly young artist and appeals to young people, but her music is very retro. I would kind of put her in like the more modern category of what like Norah Jones sort of would do. Although I think she plays guitar. I don't know if she plays piano, but she is Chinese by descent. Like her father, I think, is Chinese, but she's from Iceland. So, and her name is sort of difficult to pronounce looking at it because of these things probably, but it's cool. I love how her earring is like a big sort of shiny star, and this whole kind of sailor-y theme going on. Can't wait to hear this. She's got it's called Bewitched. There's a song called Letter to My 13-Year-Old Self on here, so looks to be pretty good. I think it's going to be kind of an what was first an underground hit. I think it's going to be sort of a hit this fall. Okay, Flaming Lips, live 2003. And this is Yoshimi versus Battles of the Pink Robots, live at the Forum, London, UK, January 2003. This features Do You Realize, Waiting for Superman, Fight Test, and the Yoshimi title track. First time on vinyl, limited edition pink vinyl. There's also a Yoshimi concert vinyl live coming out on Black Friday for Record Store Day. I think it's different than this one. But anyway, 2 LPs. You saw that. So that's cool. Okay, this record I've been sort of like, I can't wait to hear what they do here. New Duran Duran record. Dance Macabre. So last year, this time of year, Duran played a Halloween show while they were still touring their Future Past album. And they dressed up in Halloween costumes and sang some kind of spookier songs and redid some of their own songs in kind of spooky ways. And thought, what better way to commemorate this than actually make an album out of it? Let's just do it. Make something off the cuff. Make it fun. Last time they did a covers album was Thank You in 1995, and it got widely ridiculed, I think, for being like a little out of touch with what their choices or whatever. The single was White Lines by Grandmaster Flash. Ironically, they love that song so much that they still play it at their current shows. So whatever the press says, it didn't really seem to resonate that much with them. They did do a wonderful cover of Lou Reed's Perfect Day on that record, though. Velvet Underground's Femme Fatale. So, I mean, some of it was very good. Anyway, I'm a little more pragmatic about these things, I suppose. But so this is not a complete covers album. It's like a mixture of covers and new songs. So there are 3 new songs. Of note, not only does Nile Rodgers come back and play some guitar on it, who he was touring with Chic as their opener on their recent tour, but also Andy Taylor, the original guitarist, makes a couple appearances. He was fighting, or is fighting, stage 4 prostate cancer, and they invited him back to play some. Also, they brought back Warren Cucurullo to play some guitar, who was their guitarist during the Ordinary World period. So this is a lot of information, but anyway, there's 13 tracks, I believe. I didn't really count them, but it's this cool sort of dark cover. The vinyl is supposedly like a gray, marbled gray color. And they do versions of their own songs, Night Boat, and they do they do a version of their song Lonely in Your Nightmare, but mix it with Super Freak, so it's called Super Lonely Freak. And they had a song out called Secret October, and they call it Secret October 31st. Love Voodoo. New songs, Black Moonlight, Dance Macabre, and Confession in the Afterlife is supposed to be one of the best things that they've ever recorded. And they do a version of Billie Eilish's Bury a Friend, Sarone's Supernature. They do Ghost Town specials, Stones Paint It Black, Susie and the Banshees Spellbound, and Talking Heads Psycho Killer with Victoria De Angelis of Måneskin on bass. I don't know why they need a bass player. They've already got John Taylor in the band. But anyway, looking forward to hearing it. It's supposed to be not something that'll change the world, but a lot of really good fun. And it's nice hearing them do something kind of loose and fun again. Another great 80s band that I'm really looking forward to hearing this album, OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, and their new album, Bauhaus Staircase. And I love this Peter Saville designed artwork. It's so reminiscent of their older stuff, and it's cool because it's kind of embossed too. But this is the indie-only red vinyl edition. They've released a couple of singles from this. If you like OMD, I say check them out, because their last 4 albums that they've done now since the reunion of Andy and Paul back in the late aughts, they've really done some great work that sort of reference their old early stuff, and some of it also leans a little more into their wanting to be the British version of Kraftwerk. I mean, they sort of worked with Karl Bartos of Kraftwerk before, and some of their stuff comes off as pretty electronic-y now, and a little bit more computer-y sounding, intentionally, kind of reflecting of the times that we're in now. So, but there's still like very indelible melodies in there, and I just love their stuff. You can tell when I get on a band that I'm like really into, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But another artist I find very interesting, DJ Shadow, and this is his new album, Action Adventure. It's been a little while since he had something out. This was, well, I always remember him as sort of having that, his debut album in the 90s was such a big sort of underground hit with the sort of cut and paste DJ culture type stuff. But I love this cover too. Action Adventure, DJ Shadow. It doesn't he doesn't need a lot of features and stuff like that. His art is so good on its own. It's really doesn't need all that. A big reunion this week, Gaslight Anthem, history books. I think that, you know, it's been a while since they did something together. Actually, it didn't, for a while, it didn't look like they were ever going to do anything together again. And then maybe out of necessity or desire, they decided to do this, but includes the song History Books featuring Bruce Springsteen, an artist that they've sort of tried to emulate quite a bit too. So anyway, that's pretty cool. Let's see. We have new album from The Kills, and this is called God Games. This is it's been a while since The Kills released an album, and usually the lead singer, I forget her name, is spending time doing projects with Jack White, but this is sort of where she came from. And this is a limited edition Boomslang green color vinyl. Includes 16-page booklet and download code. God Games. All right, and another, I like this band a lot too. Mountain Goats. These guys just, I don't know if they ever sleep. They make like at least an album or two a year. And this is Jenny from Thebes. 9 songs leading up to the day Jenny bought the Kawasaki. 2 from the immediate aftermath and 1 from a distant highway down the road. Limited edition yellow and black vinyl. Well, Mountain Goats are kind of like indie rock, singer-songwriter-y type stuff. It's funny how the songs kind of tell a story here. It's sort of hard to see on camera, but I recommend them if you like sort of very thought-provoking singer-songwriter-y indie rock stuff. Let's see. Robert Finley, his new album Black Bayou. Robert is signed to Easy Eye Sound, which is Dan Auerbach of Black Keys label. And he's just a really cool, edgy, older blues guy. This is the limited edition indie record store exclusive olive green and black splatter vinyl. Gives a sort of story about that. Let's see, joined by hill country blues legend Kenny Brown on guitar, Pat Carney of Black Keys on drums, and Robert's own daughter and granddaughter on backing vocals. So it's a family affair. Pretty cool. I think he was on CBS Saturday last week, so you might want to check that out. Another sort of name from the past, still making records, Jessie Coulter. She is the queen of outlaw country, produced by Margot Price and the Price Tags. They back Coulter on this new collection of groovers, rockers, and ballads mixed by Shooter Jennings. Indie exclusive Deep Purple vinyl. She always seems to get associated with the outlaw country back in the 70s. And so anyway, Jessie. Talking Heads. This is the last, I believe, of the Rocktober releases, and I don't know why it was sort of cast adrift on its own, but I've seen this album in the store used a few times, obviously, but it's nice to have a purple vinyl edition of it, I suppose. Orchid, sorry, excuse me. 1988 Steve Lillywhite produced classic. Nothing But Flowers was the single, then Blind and Mr. Jones. I think the cover, I don't know why, I think the cover sort of threw people off at the time. Like, it's like, oh, it's a Talking Heads album. What's this monkey doing on the cover, you know? But it's a great album. And I think it also sort of featured a lot of the Latin sort of sound and the percussion and stuff, which David Byrne just completely ran with after this with Remo Mo and some of his other releases. Motley Crue reissue of Shout at the Devil on a picture disc. I don't think there's really much special about this except limited edition is what it says. And it's a picture disc, yeah, but it's kind of dark. I mean, it is sort of black because it's called Shout at the Devil. You can sort of see the you can see the pentagram in the middle at all, but yeah, so Motley Crue picture disc. I love this guy, and I think his albums are great. Jose Gonzalez, Veneer, and this is a new reissue of this 20th anniversary. People can be around for like 20 years and they're great, and some people have no idea who they are, but limited edition clear vinyl numbered gatefold includes a bonus live album recorded in 2003, 24-page book and essays, and a song-by-song guide from Jose. Jose is Swedish, I believe, or Norwegian. He's from that sort of the northern part of Europe, and he kind of reminds me of like Kings of Convenience, if you know them. Sort of fits into that like indie rock, but loungy, but with like a really good ear for like guitar textures and kind of fuzzy or hazy keyboards and stuff. It's just good sort of like modern singer-songwriter stuff. So I know a lot of people have seen this album before. It's the 1975, and this is their first album, but this is also a 10th anniversary edition of this. You can believe that album's been putting out records big time for 10 years, and this is on white vinyl, hence the price pushing $50. Double record. Made in Germany at probably at Optimal, which, you know, is a good pressing plant. So that's cool for collectors if you want like a white vinyl version of that. Let's see, a couple of things that came out recently. that were out for Record Store Day that are being reissued. Sparks, the self-titled album, and Sparks, A Woofer in Tweeter's Clothing. Now, these were originally not credited to Sparks. I believe they were credited to Half Nelson, which was their name before they changed it to Sparks. I think they changed it on Kimono My House, but it might have been changed on this album. I don't remember. Woofer and Tweeter's Clothing, but they're both great albums. If you like sort of like glam rock and stuff like that, these were early mid 70s records, like before they kind of did This Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us. This one was produced by Todd Rundgren. Todd being of the county next door to us, and of course he doesn't live there anymore. But yeah, check out these Sparks records if you haven't, if you missed them on Record Store Day. And I think they're also colored vinyl, although they don't say on the outside what colors they are, which is sort of typical of Friday music. They can't even like afford to put a sticker on there to tell you what's in there. I love this album. Danielle Dax, Dark Adapted Eye. So this record is, it was redone by Rubellin Remasters, and so it has been remastered and pressed on translucent yellow vinyl, limited edition of 500, includes the singles Cat House, Big Yellow Man, and Whistling for His Love. Cat House is a great song. It's 80s indie rock, but it's kind of underground. If you like things like The Cure, or like something kind of like more dream poppy than that, I suppose, or dream rock, it's like it's kind of its own sort of world, and it's like Cocteau Twins, but more English spoken. But it's not that dreamy. It's, I don't know, somewhere between that and the Pretenders, probably. But she was an artist that I just think should have been so much bigger. And I don't know what happened. I mean, she signed with a major, and then I think that maybe she was too quirky for the major, and they tried sort of pushing her in a more pop direction, and it didn't work. And then, I don't know, I lost track or something. I think it was always difficult in that era if you were on a major and then you were dropped or you left, trying to continue your career unless you had just a massive cult following. It was like all of your sort of support would sort of evaporate. But I think this came out a week or two ago, but we finally got it. Avenged Sevenfold, Waking the Fallen. This is a 20th anniversary edition on gold vinyl. I think a few of theirs might have come out, but this is probably one of the most sought after ones. Another one new, Ivy. This is their new record, Realistic. Not new record, new reissue for Realistic. And Ivy featured Adam Schlesinger, who passed away during COVID. And Dominique Durand was the singer. They were a trio. And this is, I think, early. Produced by Ultra Vivid Scene's Kurt Rowski. If you know Ultra Vivid Scene, they were sort of 80s indie rock. This was their 1995 debut. And the quote is, "There's not a jangle band in the world that can hold a candle to Ivy's beautiful brand of happy skipping, glowing pop lusciousness. Influences include Go-Betweens, Orange Juice, The Smiths, Velvet Underground, Beatles, Francois Hardy. Influences you will not find Guns N' Roses, Black Sabbath, or Celine Dion." That's about right, actually. But Adam was a great tunesmith, and sad that COVID took him, but really great stuff. Okay, interesting. A live recording of Simple Minds, New Gold Dream, live from the Paisley Abbey. I believe this is a newer live recording too. It doesn't actually say on it. It might be older, I don't know. Well, I would think that it would be newer, because it seems to be like bands are more, they seem to like more recording their old albums, touring their old albums now. But anyway, this features someone somewhere in summertime promised you a miracle, New Gold Dream. Those seem to be the songs that like everybody knows from that era. I should have put that with the OMD stuff, since they're both sort of like John Hughes associated in America. I'm sure my Brit friends would be like, God forbid. Anyway, both great bands. Swans. Interesting. A couple Swans reissues this week. Live stuff from the 80s. A 2 LP set documenting the 1987 European tour. Swans Feel Good Now with Michael Gira. A friend asked me, he's like, oh, these I think used to be sort of bootleggy. And they do say that the tapes have been transferred by, the name is listed on the back. So I'm assuming that there's some sort of remastering going on here. The other one, which I'll hold up short, is Public Castration is a Good Idea. So that's another Swans reissue. Both out on vinyl for, I would say, a very limited time. Usually Swans records don't hang around for that long. Christmas record from James Brown. This is not the typical Papa's Got a Brand New Bag type Christmas, I don't think. But this is an album he did called Christmas Time. I'm not sure exactly when this came out or if this is like tracks that were left from other things, but it does have, it might be a collection. It has Clean for Christmas on it, Funky Christmas Millennium, and Don't Forget the Poor at Christmas. Christmas for everyone. So yes, I know it's almost like Halloween, but we got to start thinking Christmas, right? Which leads to this one. Linda Ronstadt. This is her Merry Little Christmas, and this was released 20 years ago. That's got to be at least 20, maybe 25. Interesting facts about this. This is exclusive opaque metallic silver edition. First time on vinyl. Lacquers cut by Kevin Gray. Mr. I Do Blue Note stuff. I did those recent Meters reissues. And I also did the Van Morrison Astral Weeks for October. Kevin's stuff always sounds great. And if you like Linda Ronstadt's voice and you want to hear her doing some Christmas tunes, since she's basically retired, Astrid Gilberto. And this is a Great Women of Song collection that Verve is putting out. And this obviously starts with Girl from Ipanema. It has Corcovado, Shadow of Your Smile, It Might As Well Be Spring, Fly Me to the Moon. I mean, if you like Astrid's voice, this is a good collection to get song after song of her. Sometimes when you get her records with Stan Getz, you'll get her and then a couple instrumentals or something like that. So UFO, live in 1977, One Night Lights Out. This live rock album from the mid 70s. I should have done these two together, and I just did Astrid. And now here I am back with another sort of jazz record, Ella Fitzgerald. And this is Verve's Acoustic Sound series. They do such a great job with the sound. And this was done by Chad Kassem's company out in Kansas. And this is mastered from the original analog tapes, manufactured at QRP, Quality Pressings. And its basic name is Ella Fitzgerald sings the songs from the soundtrack of Let No Man Write My Epitaph, starring Burl Ives, Shelley Winters, and James Darren. So you get a whole like movie ad at the bottom here. But songs featured include Black Coffee, I Can't Give You Anything But Love, September Song, One for My Baby, I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. I'm sure it sounds fantastic. If you like Ella as a singer, I think this is probably one to get. Okay, Groove Armada. As I told you guys, there's a lot of releases. This is their anniversary, 25 years, sort of doing like DJ pop stuff. This is a collection. It starts with I See You Baby, Shaking That Ass, Shaking That Ass. That's a song that a lot of people probably in the club scene know. It also features "Back to My Roots" with Richie Havens. They were kind of one of those bands, or are an artist that will sort of mix new and old stuff. They've got Purple Haze on here, remix of that. If Everybody Looked the Same. Actually, Song for Mutia is a really great pop song. Mutia was a member of a British band, the Sugar Babes trio, but that's really great. At the Rivers, pretty mellow but cool. This is like a great collection of sort of, if you're into like Chemical Brothers, and I mean, this is a little smoother than that. More like Thievery Corporation. You might want to check that out. Fatboy Slim, that kind of stuff. Speaking of reunions, I mean, I sort of mentioned Gaslight Anthem. Here's another one, Taking Back Sunday. They're back with their new album. This is an exclusive bone-colored vinyl. And it's got the songs The One and Sold. It's called 152 is the name of the album. Starts with the song Amphetamine Smiles. I don't know what they sound like now, but you know, some of their older stuff was very popular around here and highly sought after. So Taking Back Sunday back again. All right, and well, what better to finish? I don't know if there's much CD to show. Oh, I should probably show a couple things here. I'm sorry, I'm just not completely prepared today, and the whole Taylor thing threw me off. T.I.'s King. If you're into hip-hop stuff, this is probably one I would consider one of his biggest selling classic records. So we had a lot of hip-hop stuff show up recently, things that I haven't seen in a long time. I mentioned, I think, Redman in one of my videos, Method Man. We got Freeways, Philadelphia Freeway yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, there are a few more things here I have to show. Jamila Woods, her new CD, and this is on Jaguar. It's called Water Made Us. She's cool, sort of like underground kind of R&B type electronic R&B. Robin Trower, his new record Joyful Sky featuring Sorry Shore. Robin just keeps making and putting out albums, so he's in his early 80s now, and I think he started playing bass on his last album, so he's sort of branching out still. Dokken, Heaven Comes Down, a new Dokken record. Yes, Don Dokken still doing it. Also, and talk about still doing it, Barbra Streisand, Evergreens, celebrating 6 decades on Columbia Records, if you can believe that. And she hasn't really been as active lately, but this features a lot of older songs like Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, Shadow of Your Smile, and then Can't Help Loving That Man, and then it sort of goes up through Moon River, Windmills of Your Mind, and ends with Evergreen, a 2023 mix previously unreleased. So it's a lot of sort of rounding up some old songs and favorites. And this band, which I love this artist too, and the vinyl I think is coming tomorrow, Wild Nothing, and the new album Hold. It's his first self-produced release since their breakout debut. Wild Nothing returns with Hold, an intricately layered pop meditation on family and self-identity. Is sort of like jangly pop a little bit. It's somewhere between the Smiths and the Cocteau Twins. Like, you get sort of like the sort of jangly aspect. Although I think there was one of their records that was pretty poppy that kind of had almost like Madonna 80s-ish vibes to it. So, and I think this one is supposed to be a little poppier. So if you're into that, you might want to check out Wild Nothing. Okay. 4 brief minutes to give my recommend of the week. Sorry, this is running as long as it is. My recommend this week, I'm going for an old record that I saw back on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, I love this album. Elvis Costello's Imperial Bedroom. And I know it's not very Halloween-y, although I did kind of do that for Duran Duran. This featured the original attractions, so it was Elvis, and then these three, Steve, Bruce, and the one that we don't know. I'm trying to remember the other guys. Anyway, the Thomas guys. Yeah, so fantastic record, sort of based on like a lot of like more older kind of like Beatlesque and Kinks sort of stuff of that era. It Chris Difford actually co-wrote a song on here. Steve Naive, who's the keyboardist, did the orchestrations, and it was produced by Jeff Emmerich, who was the Beatles sound engineer. And like I said, we just had a Beatles announcement today of greatest hits albums being reissued, so there's your tie-in there. But anyway, this album is one of Elvis's most eclectic records, and an early one. It's a little less twitchy than the early records, a little less tightly wound, a little more sort of relaxed. He does bring in more orchestra, more other instruments. You'll hear harpsichord and things like that. It's a much more Englishy sounding kind of record. So, but it starts with Beyond Belief, which is a kind of a rocked up song with this kind of like, it's almost like parts, songs and a song in parts, where it's got sort of like this very kind of chugging sort of melody throughout. Tears Before Bedtime sounds more like an old time kind of soul song. Shabby Doll has kind of a cool piano part. The Long Honeymoon is sort of like a, I don't know, such a like a cool storytelling song. Anyway, Man Out of Time, that song has like this wailing beginning, and then it goes into this sort of great tuneful kind of Elvis-y type song, and then it has again wailing at the end. And this features, I guess, the songs I should really mention, Almost Blue, which is a sort of a very tender ballad that would end up being the title of his country covers album. But that song was not featured on that, but it's almost more of a kind of a like a beautiful ballad that he would sort of do again with Shipbuilding on the following Punch the Clock album. And In Every Home is a great sort of orchestral pop song. I don't know, in the second half, there's just so many good songs here. It's hard to really pick things out. It ends with Town Crier, which is another great song. And there's like 15 songs on here. And I think if you got the bonus, the Rhino CD back in 2000 when they reissued those, there were like, you know, 10 more songs or whatever. He was like constantly writing and recording. And anyway, this is sort of from his Imperial phase, Imperial Bedroom, Elvis Costello. I don't know if I've recommended Elvis Costello as a, I don't know if I've done any of his albums to this point. So, and he's one of my favorite artists now. So, but I have to say, like, I was a little bit later to Elvis too. I liked him as a teenager, but I didn't really own any of these records until a little later. So, he was maybe he skewed just a little older than my generation. I don't know, or my demographic. I have friends who are into him, so maybe not. Maybe it just wasn't hitting me at the time. It's funny how music will do that. It's very like, you can just be sort of like, oh yeah, that's good, and then one day you wake up and you're like, oh, that's completely genius. Why wasn't I into that more before? So anyway, thanks guys. I know this was another long video. I'm trying to keep them shorter, but the releases keep coming. So once we get into the holiday season and there's probably fewer new releases, these will get shorter. So I appreciate the attention, and I got some really great comments this week from people, and we shared some nice little stories through email and such. So that was great. I love people from around the world reaching out, and it's awesome. And I hope you guys have great music going on in your scenes too. And I think, you know, the thing with like the Duran record is it's something that just makes you feel happy and joyful to kind of like hear them doing like these kind of like cover songs and whatever. And I think we need more of that right now, because there's so much like stress in the world. People are far too wound up. And as I talked to someone this morning, it was saying like, oh, we went to see Depeche Mode, and he was telling a friend, and the friend was like, I don't know, someone in their 50s, and they said they'd never heard of them before, and there were all these people in their office, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. Like, and I mean, there's like, how, I don't know how you get to that stage in your life, and maybe that's just, are you living a joyless existence if you never even like educate yourself on this stuff to even know who these people are? Maybe you don't love the music, but geez, find out who it is anyway. I mean, I told you, it's like crazy to me every week now when I'm getting like 20th, 30th, 40th anniversary reissues, and people sometimes will come up to me and say like, I had no idea who you were talking about. Thanks for bringing that up. You know, like if you're a Beatles fan, you really probably need to hear this album like yesterday. Okay. I mean, and if you're over the age of say 30, okay. If you're under 30, I understand. You probably missed all of that and whatever. But so get out and love the music. All right. And a fair amount of you do. Most of you who watch these videos do. So, I'm just rambling now, but hey, thank you so much. Peace to you all. Love. Thanks. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, as long as life stays going the way it is. Have some family coming in for a visit next week, so things might get a little off with the schedule. So if the video comes up a couple hours late, don't worry. I'm probably still okay. Let's hope so. All right. Take care. See you guys. Have a great week.